if you are joining or if you're watching a replay. My name is 𝕊𝕍𝕉. I am with ℍ𝕠𝕟𝕟𝕼 Realty, powered by eXp Realty here in Asheville, North Carolina. This is my first live video, and I wanted to go live to give you some updates on what's going on, what's been happening with me, where my channel is going to go from now on, and answer a few questions that I've been getting in the comment section. I thought going live and answering those questions would be a better way to, answer those questions, address some of the issues or things that people are wondering about, and things like that. So I know I haven't been on YouTube for a while, and the reason being is that me and my team were extremely busy in the past year, over a year now. I know a lot of people are aware of the market situation, what's been happening, and what's happening now. The last 2 years were just completely insane as far as the market goes. Very busy. I was in the process of building a team. We built a team to help me do all the business and help as many clients as we can. So I've just been busy. Now I'm getting ready to get back into on the platform. I've been working on gathering some content for YouTube, and gonna continue pretty much in the same vein that I've been going on before. Plus I'm gonna experiment and maybe add a couple different types of videos that I haven't done before. Live video is one of them, and thinking about maybe doing bi-weekly or weekly Q&As. If there's any interest about that, I'm gonna make a poll in the community section and see if people just gonna see what the response is going to be. All right. If whoever joined has any questions, you can send them to me. Otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and start with answering questions, like I said, that I got in the comment section of my channel in some of the videos. So one of the questions was, what are your comments about the hot, rainy summers in the towns you mentioned and the flooding in the Brevard-Hendersonville area? I watched the weather this summer in Hendersonville, and the rain was constant, spoiling summer activities. I'm pretty sure these towns are in the flood zone or flood area because the rainfall comes down from the mountains and the rivers and roads flood. This is why I had to take a pass on moving there. Well, so yes, it rains a lot in the Asheville area, and I have a video. I think it's called Weather and Climate. You can find it by just Googling or putting in the search Weather and Climate in Asheville, where me and a weather scientist, I believe her title is, talked about the climate in the area and how Brevard area and Transylvania County in general is the wettest area in the whole Western North Carolina. That's why they have over 200 waterfalls in that area. We also have a lot of rivers, a lot of creeks, a lot of streams that, in the dry season or when there's no rain, you wouldn't even notice them, but they can get nasty. They can flood the area easily, and that's what happened last fall in west of Asheville in Haywood County. The whole area just got slammed with flash flooding, and those little rivers you don't even see driving along the road, they did a lot of damage. A lot of people lost houses because there was just a big flood. With that, not the whole town or city is not in the flood zone. It can be in the flood zone, yes, because we have ups and downs. We have a mountain and a valley. The property or the area in the valley can be in the flood zone, but it doesn't have to be. And the higher you are in the mountain, the chances of you being in the flood zone are very, very slim. So the whole area cannot be in the flood zone. And you can easily verify, anybody can easily verify flood zone in GIS. Buncombe County, well, depending on the county, but for example, Buncombe County GIS, and you type in an address, or just look at the map, search by the layers there that you can select, and flooding, and it'll tell you what areas are in the flood zone and what areas are not in the flood zone. Like in Asheville, pretty much everything along French Broad River would be in the flood zone. So it's and there's a lot of properties there. There's also a lot of commercial stuff going on along that river, but there are some properties. However, some properties, if you look at the map, might seem like they're super close to French Broad River. And I'm just saying this as an example. It applies to all other areas, right? So some areas, some properties would be super close to French Broad River, and you would think, well, they must be in the flood zone. But if you look in real time, or if you look in person, even in GIS, if you look at the elevation map, you'll see that those properties are high up on the hill. There's no way it can flood. They're not even in the 500-year flood zone, floodplain. So proximity to the river does not necessarily mean that you will be in the flood zone, because you can be up the hill and you will be out of the flood zone. Now the different question is whether or not some of the roads coming to the mountain or coming to the neighborhood, if it sits on top of the mountain, will be in the flood zone or not. That's a different question. But the whole town, the whole area, the whole section, it cannot be in the flood zone. With that, yes, there's a lot of rain in summertime, and to some people, if you're from Florida, or if you are from maybe Arizona, where you used to just a lot of sunny days, I feel like it's somewhere in between Florida and like Oregon, where it drizzles and gray all the time. Although some people complain that it's kind of gray all the time, I feel like we have enough sunny days, or we have more than enough of sunny days. And the rain that you see on the weather forecast, if you watch the weather in the summer or in winter, it may, yes, they say that it'll rain, but it doesn't mean that it will rain. That's one. It doesn't mean that the whole area will have rain. Even like if you watch Asheville, it doesn't mean that the whole Asheville will get rain that day. 50% chance of rain, like they're calling for this weekend, for tomorrow. First of all, it means that there's only 50% chance of rain. And second, it might mean that southwest of Asheville will get rain and northeast will not get any rain. And that's not uncommon here. And I think it's true for many other areas. Just because they're calling for rain does not mean it's gonna rain. It's like a blanket over the area, So I personally don't remember or don't think that frequent rain in summertime spoils a lot of activities. We still manage to get out and be outdoors a lot, and I know a lot of other people do the same. Like some other people say, this is a natural playground. So people spend a lot of time outdoors pretty much all year, even in wintertime, rain or shine. Yes, we do have some days that it will rain for a day or two, but it's not every day. And some days, a lot of days, it will rain for, 20, 30 minutes, and then it stops, and you just keep on going, just carry on with your day, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's what it looks like about the rain and the rain issue. Or not, to me, it's not an issue, okay? To me, it's actually an advantage, because I I don't water my grass. I do not water my lawn. I do not water my perennial flower beds. I do water my vegetables and stuff like that, but everything that's been established, I don't touch it. And that's the beauty of it. I don't have to, we our grass is green all summer without us having to spend all day every day with the hose. So that's a beauty of that. That's why this region in general is so green. I mean, everywhere you look, it looks like a jungle because there's a huge variety of trees and shrubs and just plants in general, and the climate, hot and humid, although it's moderate, hot and humid climate, allows for everything to grow super quickly. So to me, it's a bonus. But of course, it's all about perspective, right? If you come in from Florida, it will be a lot drier. You will feel like it's a lot drier. If you're coming from Arizona, then yes, it's going to be a lot different. You're going to feel a lot more humidity here than in Arizona. So it's all about perspective and what you're used to, where you're coming from. Next question. So when I first moved to Asheville, my rent was more than double what it was back in a trendy Cincinnati, Ohio neighborhood. It has now been 1 year and my landlord raised rent by 12% on top of that. Really feeling the higher cost of rent in particular since I moved here. I like my job and the area is beautiful and fun, but it may be hard to save as much as I would like going forward unless I can find something alternative. From my search, there does not seem to be many affordable options for people unless you want to take on roommates. That's not a lie, to say the least. Prices gone up significantly in the past 2 years, including rent. I think I read somewhere that rent went up 20% or 25%, something like that. It's absolutely crazy. What I hear people say that they have to pay for rent. We have friends who just moved here from, not friends, but people we know. They just moved here from Ukraine and they found an apartment, 1-bedroom apartment. I think it's like $1,700, but it is in a nicer area. And they have amenities. It's pretty much a brand new apartment complex, so those are nicer apartments with amenities and stuff like that. But yes, rent prices, along with just housing prices, houses, real estate market gone up significantly, depending on neighborhood. I was just comparing. Again, real estate is hyper local, so you can't just look, just like rain, you can't just look at the whole Asheville and say, yes, you can look at the whole Asheville and say, okay, on average, the home price has gone up this much. But it depends on the neighborhood, Some neighborhoods went up, or some parts of the town went up 25% in just 1 year. Some neighborhoods went up 50%. I looked at homes because I was analyzing for one of my clients for homes in Ramble, which is a gated community in South Asheville, and home prices went up almost 50%, which is crazy. So yes, it's hard. The cost of living in Asheville has always been higher than anywhere in North Carolina, not just Western North Carolina. I mean, it's not a secret, and I talked about it in my other videos that it's cheaper to live in Charlotte or Raleigh, well, pretty much anyway, other than Asheville. Cost of living was always high, and it just it continues to be so. It's a lot more expensive to live here. People are not making as much money, to keep up with rent prices and housing prices and utilities and stuff like that. A lot of people have to work 2-3 different jobs, and the whole issue or the aspect of job availability in different industries that are even available here. We don't have a lot. Again, I talked about it in one of my videos about, I think it's called Jobs in Asheville. And nothing really changed yet, although Pratt and Whitney. Did I say that right? Whitney and Pratt and Whitney. Huge plant is coming to the area. And I think, I forgot the number. I think they said they're going to hire like 900 new employees. So, it's going to boost everything along with more people moving to the area. And we, taking up space on roads, which is another thing that a lot of locals like to complain about, traffic. It's not completely lie, but depending, again, where you're coming from and what perspective you have. So, yes, and some people, I can see how a lot of people have to live with roommates to make ends meet and just be able to make it. Especially people in the service industry, all the people living in or working in downtown Asheville. If you work in downtown Asheville, it's really hard to afford living close to downtown Asheville. So there's a longer commute times. That there goes your gas money. Parking in downtown ain't cheap. When I used to work, when I had an office in downtown Asheville, and I didn't go there every day, maybe like 2-3 days a week, not 8 to 5, but just a few hours a day, it was like $70-$90 a month. So it is a challenge. It's not the cheapest place to live in. All right, next question. I was born and raised all 65 years in Asheville. Please do not come. We are full. Yeah, it's we are full. Although, Asheville might seem and feel more congested sometimes because the infrastructure is not quite there. They're working on it, like they're expanding this. They will expand Sweeten Creek Road, which is in South Asheville, from 2 to 4 lanes. And they needed to do it 10-15 years ago, and they still haven't started. But Asheville has always been advertised as a destination city. I think from 1920s, it's always been an attraction. A lot of people were coming here. I mean, I have some clients who were coming here. Yes, Matthew, high rent gone higher, no more affordable. Yep, I mean, it is true. So what I was saying is that, what was I saying? Got distracted. Asheville has always been advertised as an attraction. A lot of people come to vacation here for years, right? I hear people say that they've been coming here with their parents when they were kids, and now they bring their kids to vacation here. And I had clients who just bought a house here because they just wanted to have a vacation home here because they come here every summer. And recently, TDA, if you don't know what it is, you can Google it. TDA start spending a lot more money on advertising Asheville. And when people send me some comments in my videos, stop, advertising Asheville, you're the problems, blah, blah, blah. My goal in these videos on this channel is to say it how it is, good, bad, and ugly, within my scope of practice. Because as a realtor, I cannot say everything. I cannot talk about crime. I can be a source of the source, but I cannot talk about crime or how safe or unsafe the area is or neighborhood. I cannot talk about schools, meaning which school is good or bad, stuff like that. So, like I said, I try to be as honest and give my perspective as much as possible within my scope so I don't lose my license. But also, I do not have $42 million to advertise Asheville all over the United States. And I don't know if anybody watched US Open, the last one. There was a big advertisement from TDA, and that's Tourism Development Authority. They put that ad there, visit Asheville. I mean, how do you think a lot of people all over the country know about Asheville? Because there's millions of dollars that are being poured into advertising, promoting tourism in the Asheville area, which did help develop the area. But that's just a little different issue, a little different question. I don't want to go in there right now because it's very complex, but it's interesting to kind of watch and see how it's all developing and whether or not it's just gonna go completely overboard and do more harm than good. Hopefully not. I don't know. Next comment. It's more of a comment, not question. The old rule of thumb is if it's cheap, it's steep, or no water, or solid rock, won't pass septic perk test. And that was in connection with my video about building in the mountains, I think. Yes, that's one of the issues, one of the challenges we have in the region because of the mountains. You can't build everywhere. It's hard to find a good quality piece of land. Some people come with the expectation that they just gonna come and find a piece of land and build a house here. Well, not so fast. I mean, there is some land, but if it's gonna be a good quality land, meaning it's not gonna be a complete cliff like this, it's going to cost a lot. It's gonna cost a lot of money. And septics is another thing and another aspect that we have here. Even in city limits, there's some properties that are not on city water, city sewer. Some properties have septics and wells. So septic systems are a huge part of our area. A lot of properties have septics, and that's what this comment is about. If it rocky or depending on the soil, it might not pass septic test, and you cannot install conventional or traditional septic system. But they can pretty much do anything for the money. You can do custom or what's it called, engineered septic system for tens of thousands of dollars, and it can still be done. So I don't want to say that you cannot build a house now, but it can be still done, but it's going to cost a lot more. All right, next, and I think that's the last one that I wrote down here. A local here, and I'd say the traffic is a complete mess on I-26. It is always backed up, and for the past few weeks, Airport Road has been backed up due to people coming to stare at some leaves. This question was actually like a month ago. So it's a twofold question. One is I-26 is one of the highways that goes through town. And yes, it's a notoriously bad section, the section that goes through town. A lot of traffic, a lot of, because, a lot of people moving and commuting from city to neighboring city, or, outside cities, outside towns. It seems to be backed up quite a lot. Again, it's all about perspective and comparison. If you come in from a real city, people who come from real cities laugh at this problem when they hear locals say, we have bad traffic. And they're like, what traffic? But it's gotten worse. It's gotten a lot worse than, let's say, 15, 20 years ago. And those who have been here and saw all these changes that's what it basically is about. It's a lot worse. And they are working on it. They are working on it. The section between Buncombe County, Asheville, and Henderson County, Hendersonville, usually is the worst, and they are working on it to widen the highway. So it's gonna get better. It's gonna get worse before it's gonna get better, but it is going to get better. And they also working. The transportation department allocated the biggest amount of money to kind of rearrange all the intersections within the city limits as well, add some exits and add some lanes, and I think even a bridge or two across French Broad River. So no work has been started yet on that within the city, but it's gonna get better. Again, it's gonna get worse before it's gonna get better, but this infrastructure needs improvement and needs to be needs to be able to allow for all the influx of people we've had in the past 2 years. And then the second part of the question, because the airport road has been backed up due to people coming to stare at some leaves. Leaf season is pretty much behind us. It's a Christmas season now, but this area is so beautiful during the fall that, you know, the Blue Ridge Parkway is going through our area. There's several exits or entrances to the parkway from Asheville, and it gets so beautiful in the fall, and a lot of people come to the area in the fall to look at the leaves. That's, you know, and when you live here, when you're surrounded by this, I guess you don't pay too much attention to that, or you're used to it. But leafers is what we call people who come to look at the leaves, a real thing. And when between, you know, October, pretty much the whole month of October, I try to stay out of Blue Ridge Parkway, because instead of taking a shortcut to get to the opposite side of town, without traffic, without red lights, it's gonna take a lot longer, because those leafers, those tourists, you know, they drive on the parkway and they stop or slow down to take a look left and right at all the views and all the overlooks and all the trees, and it is beautiful. It is breathtaking, but it can be annoying when you just trying to get to work. So that's funny. So those are all the questions or all the comments that I wanted to address here. Hopefully it was useful. I don't see any other comments pop up on my screen. If anybody has any comments, please post them now, or if I see them after the video, I will make sure to answer them. Going forward, like I said, I plan on posting more videos about the area. Like the next batch of videos I'm creating is about towns north of Asheville. Any good neighborhoods to drive through Christmas lights? Christmas light neighborhoods. There's a section in Biltmore Lake that one cul-de-sac, you know, like they have this main road, and then there's a section, gosh, what's it called? I'll find it and I'll send it to you. I know who it is. I'll send it to you. And they kind of go overboard. We went there last year, and this one house in particular, they had some crazy stuff going. Like that, it looks like a lot of work. But just, you know, I think Biltmore Park would be a good area to drive through. There's what else? Gosh, nothing comes to mind. But Biltmore Lake, Biltmore Park, Biltmore Forest. The houses are kind of spread out, so it's probably not the best. There's a property on Sweeten Creek Road, off of Sweeten Creek Road. As you drive south, it's going to be on the left side. It's right in the BB Barnes vicinity. There's a house, there's a field between the house and the road, and the house kind of sits kind of farther. You don't really see it that well. They decorate the house, and they put like some deer and some lights, something, you know, on that field that we always drive with kids, and they always like, I'm like, look, and they always love it. But if I think of something else, I'll post about it. I don't see any other questions. So yes, I'm gonna put the next batch of videos will be about towns north of Asheville, because I feel like that area is getting, you know, is growing. Actually, somebody else just posted a comment that Burnsville is the next, well, any walkable neighborhoods. I'll get back to you in just a second. Burnsville is the next, or kind of took over the bedroom neighborhood of Asheville from Weaverville. And yes, Burnsville is getting more and more popular. I love Burnsville. Just kind of keep in mind that everything outside of Asheville will be opposite of Asheville in terms of you're not gonna get our hippies. from Asheville. You're not gonna see them in Burnsville or in Hendersonville. We're gonna keep them here, okay? So it's not gonna be as quirky, hippie, still beautiful. It's gonna be more conservative or quite conservative, unlike Asheville. All right, so as far as walkable neighborhoods, and kind of define walkable. Are you talking about what you want to be able to walk within the neighborhood, like walk the dog, walk the kids, or you want to be able to walk to something? Because in Asheville actually is not very walkable town. You know, downtown is very walkable. You can walk through the whole downtown, but Asheville itself is not very walkable. Walk to grocery store, pools, etc. Okay. So walk to something. So yes, the most walkable like that neighborhood in the neighborhood sense would be Biltmore Park. Biltmore Park was created, and I actually have a video, it's an old video, so don't judge me, about Biltmore Park. It was created with the idea to reduce the use of cars. And Biltmore Park pretty much has everything except the grocery store. The grocery store you have to drive. I mean, you can technically walk to it, but it's gonna take some time, and you have to cross that 𝕊𝕌𝔹𝕊𝕂 road, which is crazy busy. I wouldn't recommend it. But the grocery store is like half a mile away from it. They have the gas station is right around on the corner as you enter. They actually have few entrances to Biltmore Park. They have YMCA with a pool, indoor pool. They have all kinds of stores like REI, local boutiques, Barnes and Noble, tons of restaurants, pizzeria. They have movie theater. The biggest movie theater is actually in Biltmore Park. That's where we go. Biltmore Park, Biltmore Park. Are you talking about Biltmore Park? BILTORE. So it's not a town, it's a neighborhood. From Biltmore. That's the most walkable. You can, and they have trails, and it is very walkable. And you can walk to places. They have Hilton Hotel. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Offices and houses and apartments, just all kinds of stuff except for grocery store. Another very walkable neighborhood where you can walk to places would be, it's not a neighborhood, it's West Asheville. West Asheville is the part of town, the West Asheville, is where a lot of people want to live because you can walk to places. You can walk to some of the best restaurants in town, coffee shops, stores, parks. There's a library, a school, and mechanic, and grocery store, all kinds of stuff, breweries. And you can actually walk from West Asheville, all that area along Haywood Road. You can actually walk to downtown through River Art District. I think it's going to take like an hour. It's not going to be an easy walk because it's, again, up and down, the hills and stuff like that. But you can, technically. So anything on the outskirts of downtown, you can walk to downtown, like South Slope. Downtown has one of the best grocery stores, in my opinion, where for organic produce. If you're looking for all organic or for mostly organic produce, French Broad Food Co-op is in downtown. So downtown technically also has all kinds of stuff. Yes, French Broad Food Co-op. And I talked about the grocery stores in my grocery stores video. I think that's the name, grocery store video. Again, it's an older video, so don't judge me. But pretty much all the stores that I covered in that video are still here. So West Asheville, completely different vibes. West Asheville from Biltmore Park, for example. Let me teach you. Yeah, Matthew. I'll get back to you on this in a second. West Asheville, like downtown and West Asheville, will give you a true flavor of Asheville, of what Asheville is like, with all the, like I said, all the quirkiness, all the hippiness, all the vibrancy. Everything would be in West Asheville and downtown. They also have all the best restaurants in those areas. Biltmore Park is more it's more polished, calm. Like there's not gonna be all this crazy stuff that's you see in the downtown and West Asheville area. It's also gonna be more expensive, I think, in 𝕊𝕠𝕟 Park. Yeah, I don't think you can buy anything under 600 or 700. Lots of apartments and developments coming our way next. Yeah, yep, and ℍ𝕬𝕠𝕟𝕟𝕖𝕔𝕥. So the Asheville is developing, and they keep adding those apartment complexes. And every time I see one, I'm like, oh my god, the traffic is gonna be again. I'm complaining about traffic. Affordable but cool. Let me get back to you on that too. The traffic is gonna get more congested with all these apartments coming up. Cannot afford any. Yeah, mid-income people cannot afford anything. Yep, I hear you. That is why a lot of people have to commute to downtown, which is, I was talking to somebody and they were like, well, that's how people or servers in New York do. They have to live in Brooklyn, which, I mean, we're not in New York, right? So the latest initiative is coming from 𝕊𝕠𝕟𝕟𝕉.com or .org. It's one of our friends actually from the old gym. He started this initiative to kind of bring the attention to TDA and its spending, and maybe force or have the legislation that will not let them use the whole 6% or all the money that they have to advertise the tourism, but put it back in the community. There's still ways to go with it. I think they're trying to push for it. They're trying to speak up about the issue, and maybe, who knows, maybe it will come a reality. But like I said, $42 million budget for TDA to spend on ads and tourism development, and maybe half of it can be used to put back in the community, like subsidized parking for all the servers in downtown and stuff like that. But again, if you want to keep up with it, find 𝕊𝕠𝕟𝕟𝕉.com website, and you can sign up for their newsletter. So that's an interesting newer development. All right, more affordable and cool places outside of Asheville. I mean, all these towns outside of Asheville are getting more and more popular because Asheville is getting a lot more expensive. Downtown Marshall. Asheville is getting so expensive. You do not get as much for your money in Asheville at all, and it gets more congested. A lot of people don't agree with politics or what's going on in Asheville on the local government level and stuff like that, and just for any other reasons too. People come here, or a lot of people come here, they want to have land, they want to have a house with some elbow room, unlike some areas where they used to live, like in New York, where everyone was like this. So you can't find it in the city limits for cheap or affordable. So a lot of people start looking at other places like Candler, Weaverville, Marshall, Mars Hill are gaining popularity. Mars Hill is a college, or is it college? Mars Hill College city, town. I will be talking about it more in detail in the upcoming videos. And Marshall they say it's next Asheville, because a lot of artists who cannot afford to not only live in Asheville, forget about living in Asheville, but have a studio in Asheville, they just flock to Marshall. And it's such a cool little town. So beautiful. It's right along French Broad River. Very cool downtown. I mean, everything's going to be on a much, much smaller scale. If you are coming from a big city, yes, I was there, when I was putting all the videos together and getting my B-roll and flying with my, you're welcome. Sorry. When I was flying with my drone there, I stopped and got some coffee there. Very cute downtown. Burnsville, which is about an hour from Asheville, it's northeast of Asheville, is gaining popularity, like somebody said here, or somebody in my comments said. Um, Again, some of those areas will not have downtowns. Marshall, Mars Hill, Burnsville, Weaverville do have downtowns. Pretty cool towns. Everything's gonna be on a much smaller scale. I start saying that if you come in from a real city, big city, Asheville will feel like, you know, small place. But if you start going outside of, it's gonna be even like you're really gonna get a small town feel from all those areas. And it depends on what you're looking for. Hendersonville is the second largest town in Western North Carolina after Asheville. Bigger downtown than any other downtowns, more things to do, a few great restaurants in rural PA. Oh wow. Well then all the small towns here will be just, good size for you if you're in rural PA. So Hendersonville, Weaverville, Mars Hill, Marshall, Burnsville getting more and more popular. Black Mountain, east of Asheville, cute downtown with cafes and some galleries and stuff like that. A little walkable place. They have a what is it? Not a pond, a little Lake Tomahawk there where you can walk around. It's a cute place. Everything on a smaller scale. For example, for example, to go to Target, if you live in Black Mountain and places like that, you're gonna have to drive to Asheville. Hendersonville has Sam's Club and Walmart, but Black Mountain, places like that, not gonna have that. So Old Fort is becoming more popular, and that's past Black Mountain, more east. It's almost like halfway to Charlotte. Not quite, but it's a little farther. That it's getting more popular. And it's getting more popular because until recently, and I think, yes, Waynesville, until recently, Old Fort used to be a dry town. I don't know how, but until recently it was a dry town, and then I think Hillman Brewery came in there and they opened up their location, and now it's getting more popular. So it's close enough to Asheville. I want to say probably 40-50 minutes to Asheville, if Asheville is even important to you. I'm just saying this as a reference point. But east of Asheville, beautiful area, a lot quieter. It will feel like it's a rural country type of setting, but I think it's gonna get more booming as time goes on. And yes, as far as the shortage of teachers and staff and all that, it seems like, from what I hear from other people, from other realtors that I work with in other states, it's the issue that's been going on not just in Asheville. It's not Asheville specific. I mean, yes, some areas will be worse than others, but it seems like the past 2 years just made a lot of damage to a lot of workers, a lot of workforce. And yeah, it's not completely untrue. So, are there any other questions? And so yeah, I plan on going live. I'll see maybe once a week, every other week, and see what the response will be, if it's gonna be any good for anybody. If people find value, I'll continue doing those lives, but I'm gonna give it a try for, a few, I don't know, maybe a couple of months, and see what it's gonna look like. And I feel like I have more time here to explain something more in detail, not in a structured video that I am putting up on the channel. And then I'll continue going with the videos about the area, maybe showing the maps or combining with the maps to make it more, to illustrate it a little bit better. And also want to see how people will react and what they think about maybe showcasing some properties. There are some interesting properties that are listed right now. So if I get to make a tour of them, I'll see how people will like it. For example, and I doubt that I'm gonna be allowed to film there, but the most expensive property in the Carolinas, I think, was just listed like a month ago in Linville. It's not quite the area that I serve, but it's quite a unique property, $29 million price tag. So something like this. I'll see. Again, on the response and what people think about this type of content, but just gonna combine with, different things, and see where this is gonna take me. So if nobody has any more questions about Asheville, what it's like here, I mean, a lot of things changed even in the past year since the last time I put a video. So I feel like I need to make some updates or update some videos like on cost of living. Just kind of forget about that video, the last video that I made, market update and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of things changed. So, all right, if nobody has any more questions or comments, I hope I answered everything. If not, just hit me up and I'll be happy to answer them. I will see you. I'll post about it, but it's probably going to be in a week or two. I'm going to do another live, but in the meantime, I'm going to work on I love Asheville. Yes, we love Asheville too. That's why we're here. We moved here in 2004 and it was a lot different. I mean, I worked in Subway sandwich shop in downtown Asheville back in 2004. You can't even imagine having a Subway here now in downtown. It will not survive. There's just zero chance for a Subway. But back then, there was not a whole lot of other options to eat, to quickly get a bite or something. So that's why it worked. It's long gone from downtown. And there's a lot of, great restaurants that came in. Yes. Well, it is a hotel. Yep. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting times. I'm glad we stayed and never moved away. Yeah. To me, it's getting better. I mean, every area will have its issues, but it is it's all about what you're looking for, what you love, what works for you and your family. And this place, for now, it works for us, me and my family. So we love it here. All right, well, stay tuned. I hope to see everyone in upcoming live streams as well as in the comment section of my upcoming videos that I'm gonna post. I promise. I hope everyone is having a great holiday season. Don't stress too much. I know it's a crazy time for everyone, but just one day at a time. And thank you for joining me. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you next time. Let's see. Bye. You're welcome.